Hello, welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Podcast. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard. That's L-E-N-A-R-D. It looks French. It's not. It's Leonard without an O. Thank you for tuning in. As Graham Norton used to say on his show, let's get on with the show! Joining me today will be Leif Bristow. That's like Leif Erikson, he was saying, we'll get into that. But it's spelled L, like a leaf on a tree, as I joked with him before I hit record. But it is spelled for the benefit of audio only and the transcript, Leif Bristow. Okay, now that that's out of the way, and I also want to apologize for those viewing the video. My Behind the Mask theater captain shirt, the only shirt that's appropriate to wear with a film-related guest, is in yellow, and it's freaking out the Zoom green screen filter thingy. So that's looking a little flaky, and also I don't have a song yet that would relate to this episode. So by way of pushing myself, I'm going to, after we're done here, hopefully before my 1 o'clock interview or after that, I plan on writing a Suno track, Silver Screen, because I've been tacking on my Suno track music at the end of each episode. So I'll have a film-related one, and we'd even be able to use it in a film. I'll have commercial license. Hint, 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 right? Yeah, but anyway, who is Leif Bristow, and why is he here? I've said to him on Podmatch, no surprise to my audience, that's where I interact with potential guests. I've had health weeks, author weeks, music weeks, and a few here and there movie reviews, but never spoke with a movie's producer yet. So, here you are. But before we get into any of that, where were you born and raised? Significant places you've been between? Where are you now? How much time have you served in prison for what? That's a joke, people. That's a joke. That's a joke. But I'm serious, born, raised, where you are now, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I was born in Toronto, and then when I was 3,
beauty, eh?
It sure is, eh?
The Great White North.
Bill, yes.
What was it, Bill and Mackenzie brothers? Bill,
Mackenzie brothers. Yeah, Doug. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Anyway, my OCD brain, again, automatically has to just butt right in there. And go ahead. I got lots of Canadian friends, so.
Oh, that's great. Well, Dave Thomas, who was one of the two Mackenzie brothers, he and I have written projects together and things like that. Oh. So, yeah, no, I know the group well. As I say, I was born in Toronto, and then when I was just before I turned 3, my family moved to Alaska, and we lived in Alaska before it became a state. Then
don't worry, I'll ask more questions later.
Okay. So yeah, I had one sister that was born there before it became a state, and one that was born after it became a state. Then we moved to Denver.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, because she had Canadian, Alaskan, and American citizenship, which is different. And then we moved to Denver, then to Dallas.
Now
then to Chicago,
I'm going to have Colorado Rocky Mountain High in my head the rest of the day.
I'm
sorry, Chicago.
Good old Bob Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we moved back to Denver, and then I ended up at the University of Denver. That's where I went part of my university. Then I ended up at a university in Canada, and then went to Europe to perform for a year, and then ended up living in Los Angeles, where I got my degree in theater. And then
you said there. Abroad, so I'm going to do for the benefit of the transcript and the audio, I'm doing my Marcel Marceau idiocy interpretation. Anyway, go on. My OCD brain just won't let me not do stupid stuff like that.
Good. And then I ended up moving back to Canada at a certain point, just because in knowing what I wanted to accomplish in film and television, I knew that, well, I guess coming out of film school or theater school more so, I didn't understand and hadn't been raised in kind of the California studio system. So I knew, but I also knew what I wanted to focus on. And my family was getting involved in supporting film and television in Canada. So I thought, okay, I'm going to come back because there were lots of places I could work in theater, and film and television was taking off. And over the last 30 years in particular, I've just executive produced and directed film and television from Toronto as a home base. I have a U.S. company. Our oldest daughter lives in Tucson. So I'm back and forth a lot, but yeah. So it's I'm one of the few people around that can still claim I saved my draft card from Vietnam as a souvenir, just to remind me what it was like. So
most burned it. Yeah, you saved it. Put it in a frame. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's really appropriate to look at it now when we see what's going on.
And thank you.
So anyway, so I feel like, I've been fortunate, as well, because of the films that we make, and a lot of our specialty is filming in exotic locations, because I've always believed that, especially in the world of romance, which we do a lot of, the 90%, apparently more, but at least 90% of North Americans will never leave continental North America in their lifetime. So the opportunity to go see what
live vicariously through others. Yes.
Right. So my wife and I always work on the basis that our job when we make holiday and romance movies is that our job is to make the Audrey Hepburn movies for this generation and make them as beautiful as we can every time we do it, and go around the world doing it. So we've filmed in so many countries, and been very fortunate to do so.
Yeah. Although I love adding comedy, and I love Kevin James's Solo Mio that came out recently. Yeah. I love that movie. Filmed in Italy.
Yeah, no, it's when you can bring those together in a nice fashion. It's a really wonderful opportunity for the audience just to let go and relax. Which is what
escapism rather than preachiness. We got too many preachy movies. Yes,
that's right.
Stop trying to preach to us. And I say that to the Christian studios as well. I keep trying, although I'm glad Angel Studios is going to less beat people over the head with the Bible thumping type movies. Christian. Yep. They even did the sci-fi The Shift. And I love, my favorite Christian movie is Risen, because now actually that's my second. My first favorite is the Resurrection of Gavin Stone, because again it's a if you get a chance, it's funny. It's a comedy about an actor who gets caught, drunk driving, community service at a church, kind of wants to hook up with the preacher's daughter, so he's pretending to be all Christian, right? Yeah. So, but there's Christian values without beating people over the head with the Bible. I try to do the same with my books. I make no bones. I'm a Christian author, but I don't want to beat people over the head with the Bible.
No, I don't think it's necessary. I think if you look at historically, I've made a lot of buddy pictures. We did it in a company I was part of. We did 18 films for HBO, all over the world, and won a lot of Emmys with them. And in the movies that I make for the Hallmark Network, I've done 3 biblical movies myself. I directed Peter the Redemption with John Rhys Davies, playing Peter, and Stephen Baldwin playing Nero. So it's Peter at the end of his life. The greatest power you have is when, for me and philosophy in all of our films, is we just follow solid moral principles that would be consistent with Christian Judaic value. And in doing that, we can reach most of the population.
That's rare in Hollywood today, I gotta say.
Yeah, it is. But it's just not that hard to do. But I think that also comes from the philosophy of what we do. I mean, I had daughters, and I determined years ago that I didn't think there were a lot of positive role models for young women in film and television. So my wife and I have always looked for and have been champions of films that show women rising above adversity, and showing that in their own inner strength, to be positive role models for other young women. So that's always been a theme to what we look for in our films, even in the Hallmark movies we do. I remember one of the times when I was directing Lacey Chabert in a movie that we did called Love on Safari in South Africa. One of the lines that, because I was directing the movie, and I rewrote one of the lines in one of the scenes to say that, when she was breaking up with a guy, it wasn't about just being the way she was. What she rediscovered was her own inner joy. When she came back to this reserve, she rediscovered that joy of who she is as a human being and fell in love with herself.
Yeah. Becoming one doesn't mean you lose yourself. No, and you said a couple things, right? Female empowerment without the fifth wave, men are optional on this planet kind of nonsense. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's I think, young women really, they need those positive role models to look up to, and that just come in all forms. And, there's just a positive way. And, and this is why, like when we did the movie based on Aggie's book, Dancing Through the Shadow, doing the movie of Tia Zhang, and first seeing how Aggie was able to bring the book together, which was quite a feat. It's based on Tia's life, and Tia's Chinese, Aggie's not, and they kind of decided cultural. It was kind of they decided, it was kind of like two hearts coming together, because Aggie really spent the time to understand Tia's life, from Tia's perspective, and then was able to let the audience understand Tia's life from that first person, which is why the book it's such an emotional, compelling story. Yes, it's set against the Cultural Revolution, because that's when Tia came of age during the Cultural Revolution. It's not a bit of
historical fact.
Perspective.
It's historical fiction in a way. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's actually a lot of historical truth, but it's
I call it faction. Yeah, part fact, part fiction, exactly, for the dramatization of the current story morals telling, but historically rooted and based. Like my first Terror Strikes book is historical fiction, technically faction. Yeah, real world things help sell the fictional drama portions. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, in this particular case, Tia, when Tia was growing up, and this, what I love about this book as well, 11% of North America's population is of Asian descent. That's 55 million people in North America are of Asian descent. How much do each of us know about our neighbors that are Chinese? Have we ever asked them, what's your journey? What's your ancestry that came here? Many of their ancestors came and worked on America's
railroads. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were
the origin of snake oil, but we don't need to get it. I got a show on that. See my show on that. Yeah.
But they were treated with just total indignation, the same as any other visible minority. Yeah,
Irish indentured servants. Yep.
So but and then there are many that post the Cultural Revolution made their way to North America, and so well, this is Tia's story. Her father was one of the most senior military men in Beijing and was one of the people that surrendered Beijing to Mao. And then they lived in a massive home in Beijing. And on the day that all the former Kuomintang were offered the opportunity to leave China and go to Taiwan and form what is still the current government of Taiwan, Tia's family got to the shoreline to get onto the ship. And when they went out to get in the water to get in a small boat, soldiers started shooting bullets into the air, and one of the bullets hit her little brother's leg. So they were all forced back to shore. So they were never able to escape China. And because her father was such a senior military person, they were, when they got back to where their home was, they had this massive home where they had servants and everything else. When they got back, they were afforded one room in their own home to live in.
Prisoners in their own country. Yep.
Yep. And her father was then interrogated for a few months. He was then sent to work in a hospital over 5 hours away from Beijing, only permitted to return twice a year. So, and Tia's mother was then sent to work in a dress factory. And Tia, they would hold dances at the dress factory, and Tia loved to dance as a child. And when Madame Mao decided that they would start a school of ballet, Tia happened to be one of the people selected for the very first school of ballet, Western ballet in China. And she was in the first graduating class of that school, and had always expected to be a prima ballerina. Tia was technically the most proficient and is considered even today the greatest resource of traditional Chinese ballet in the world. And so what happened was, at a certain point, like Tia, as she was graduating, the Chinese government, after 10 years of Mao's rule, they wanted to put up statues of all of the beautiful faces of the new China and create statues all over China.
The propaganda side, yeah.
Tia and a gentleman by the name of Jason were asked to stand and model for one of the statues. They stood next to each other for days so that the sculpture could do the sculpture, but they weren't supposed to talk to each other. Well, Tia fell madly in love with Jason. She told her mother that she'd met this man. Her mother was insisting on a traditional Chinese matchmaking ceremony, which Tia wanted nothing to do with. But she said, I want you to meet Jason. Finally, mother met Jason and said, well, you can't see him because he's too tall. He was a member of the Chinese athletic team, and he was a hurdler. So her mother said, he's too tall and he doesn't have sufficient education. So you read in the book and you see in the movie, they became estranged over it for months because Tia was just as stubborn as her mother. Eventually, mother said, okay, you and Jason come here to the house. So they went to the house, and mother said, as long as Jason gets an education, I'll permit you to see him, because she knew she was going to lose the battle. And it just so happened that
Jason something out of the deal. Yes.
Jason, fortunately, Jason had just enrolled at the Beijing University to study traditional Chinese medicine. So the family was ecstatic because now there was going to be a doctor in the family.
That helps.
It really helped. But the tragedy of it is that Jason obviously went to the university, and with the Red Guard and the change in the Cultural Revolution, and it became more and more violent as starvation was becoming rampant in the Western provinces because China was trying to produce steel with all the stuff they could never find to create steel. And so then the Russian government wasn't going to give them food. All the tractors were stuck in the mud in the Western provinces because there was no one there to work.
Food stolen from Ukraine, then fed to the Chinese.
Yeah. Well, starvation became rampant. And, during that whole period, somewhere between 35 and 70 million people died during what was supposedly peaceful times in China. China wants to pretend that the Cultural Revolution never existed, or just to say that this was a time when a great leader brought an entire nation together.
Yeah.
And if 35 to 70 million people died out of 1.5 billion, that's just the cost of building. That's just the cost of building a country.
Yeah.
Which is that's mind-boggling. But
yeah, I'm
going to
make myself a note: deaths, so I could put that image up. Yeah, all the deaths associated with communism of both the Soviets and the Chinese, far exceeding Hitler. Not to excuse Hitler in any way, shape, or form here. Please don't quote me out of context or anything like that. But the realization of all those communism, socialism, fascism brings death and destruction. Always. So I'll put that in there. And a couple things. Once I interviewed, I remember her real name, but I can't give it because she's still a Chinese exile and trying to be careful. But in my back catalog, I have an interview with a Chinese exile, and she wrote indeed about growing up in China, and that's why I wanted to have her on. But you were talking about cultural shifts and the Cultural Revolution over in Asia, and vicariously through sets elsewhere. I'm reminded of the recent, not the current Brandon Fraser Eisenhower movie, but Rental Family.
Yeah, that
was fantastic.
Well, it's marvelous to see stories like that, and Brandon's obviously a wonderful actor. But I think one of the things that is important, and this is what I love about being able to do the movie about Tia's life, which we actually filmed mostly during COVID. We were shut down and came back, and that created
we're talking a lot about. Is it out? Is it coming? What is the official title? If it's out, or are you still holding that as a working title?
No. The movie is the same as the book, Dancing Through the Shadow. The book's getting wonderful reception on Amazon. It's been on the bestseller list a long time. And MGM has just picked up the movie for worldwide distribution. And it's also called Dancing Through the Shadow. And what I think a couple of things that are important, relative to the Cultural Revolution is, again, that was simply the backdrop for the book and for the movie. It's not our position within either the book or the movie to pass judgment. It's a time in history, but it's a more contemporary time in history that an audience can relate
judgment to. Is for me to shed shade on.
yeah, exactly. So this is, but because most of what we see coming out of Asian cinema that's in English is sitcoms or comedy, so we're not getting to see this kind of movie very often based on Chinese characters and Chinese subject matter. And it is the story of many, many people of Asian ancestry in North America today. Many people have family that left and came to North America either because of the Cultural Revolution or getting out after Mao, or coming from Korea after the Korean War, which was also violent. The book is a story of love more than anything else. It's Tia's love for her family, for her husband, for her son, and trying to create a better life. After Tia and at a certain point, Tia and Jason got married, even without permission from the government. And then as soon, Jason asked a question when he was in university. That question was put in his folder, and the day after he graduated from university, he was told he was being sent to a labor camp near the Russian border for asking that question and to help him rethink some of his positions.
Yeah. Well,
most people never made it.
Yeah, hopefully you can sneak a Taiwanese movie in somewhere along the way here, because the only thing a lot of people know about Taiwan, or even know of Taiwan, is because of the jacket scene in the Top Gun movies.
Yeah, no, that's right. And well, we were supposed to film this movie, most of this movie in Taiwan, because we can't film it in China because of Tia
Right.
and having
Yeah.
written the book. So as I say, Jason was sent to a labor camp because he was a barefoot doctor, in essence, working up in this labor camp. Tia was given permission to come and see him. So she took a train for 18 hours to get there. She saw him and she stayed for a few weeks. And when she came home, discovered that she was pregnant. Madame Mao decided that ballerinas didn't know what hard labor was like. So she closed down all the ballet schools and sent all the ballerinas to labor camps. And so for Tia, that meant 56 days after her son was born, she had to leave her son with her mother, and she was sent to a labor camp. She saw her son twice in 3 years. So by the time she came
but
back,
isn't communism great? According to some morons here. I'm sorry. I can't help but interject the shade that needs to be thrown. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it was very sad. So at a certain point, after Leah had been at the labor camp, Madame Mao decided to reinstitute the dance schools. Tia was brought back to be the administrator and the head of the ballet school, but she also was still dancing. And there was a woman from England, from the embassy, together with a man by the name of John Fraser. And John was a reporter from Toronto stationed in Beijing, who also was the man who helped Baryshnikov defect from Russia. John is actually godfather to two of Baryshnikov's sons, but he knew Tia and introduced her to Louise from England. And Tia was invited to come and dance in England with some of the people from the Beijing Dance Academy. So that was right when China was permitting people to begin to travel. So Tia went to London, and when she got there, as she said, being raised in China, what she was taught was that the rest of the world hates China because we're so prosperous and it's such a great nation. And if you leave our borders,
the propaganda, yeah.
If you leave the borders, they'll kill you. So she said, here I am, I'm petrified, I'm leaving the country.
Welcomed.
I get to London, England, and they drive me through Chinatown, and there's women wearing beautiful dresses, not Mao suits, and eating lunch outside and laughing and doing things and going to parties. And so when she returned home, she said to Jason, the world outside is what my father always told me it was, not what we've been taught to believe it was.
That reminds me of the story of Gorbachev coming to America and Gorbachev going through perestroika, and we kind of blew our chance there. And him going to American supermarkets and having himself bought into the CCCP propaganda that, they're so prosperous and they've got all this. And no, you got, as the joke goes, we have bread waiting on people. Our bread waits in lines. They wait in lines for bread.
Yeah. No, it's, so, I mean, it was an eye-opener to her. So then eventually Tia and Jason defected, and then it took a number of years for them to be able to get their son out. So it's the power of that desire to improve life for her family that drove Tia and her husband.
Family story, yes.
This is a story with a lot of emotion, a lot of
mother's love and family.
So for readers, it's not a book you're going to go and get just because you want to read about history. It's an incredible story of a woman rising and a family rising above the adversity that they were dealing with. And this is universal because if you look at what we are in North America, North Americans, I don't care how you want to say it, but all of us,
spoiled. Well, that. But
well, wasn't where I'm going to go. But all of us are basically the descendants of people who left another country because of some level of oppression and the desire to create a better life.
Human nature. We may have technologically advanced, but we're still the same human animals we were thousands of years ago.
Yeah, but look at how young America and Canada are, and where our ancestors come from. The cinematographer on the movie Dancing Through the Shadow, Rudy Blachek, who's a phenomenal cinematographer. His family's from Prague. Well, Rudy remembers what it was like when he was 3 years old with the tanks coming through Prague. So for people who have Czech ancestry, they understand that. Look at the Armenians in
but
North America.
nobody here remembers any of it. We don't teach any of it
We don't
here.
teach
Oh
any
no,
of it.
because communism is great. You gotta sell the communism. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You aren't commie enough for Hollywood,
Well,
which makes me want to go back to why you are Quentin Tarantino. I'm not a huge fan, but it comes to mind too. Comes into Hollywood as you now are part of Hollywood, but you don't reside there. You don't want to be in that bubble, I take it. But
No.
his 70s noir, if he'd have grown up in that actor, producer, screen adapter bubble, he wouldn't be who he is, nor would you be who you are if you were from that bubble.
No, all of us in life end up where we are through life experience. I'm fortunate. Moving around isn't great for everybody. I had a sister that was not good for me. It has its own challenges, but I've always been able to embrace the opportunity that it gave me to meet people who, when I moved into Denver, I lived in an area where I had a lot of Spanish friends, Spanish and Mexican friends. So I was able to learn about their culture. When I lived in Dallas, I lived on a street where there were 74 homes. I know because I delivered the Dallas Morning News when I was a young teenager, and 70 of the homes of the 74. The families in those homes were Jewish. So all my friends were Jewish, and I learned a lot about Jewish culture. Some of them even a lot.
Yes.
I got to attend Sabbath dinners sometimes. I got to go to Hebrew school on a Saturday with someone, so I could learn and understand. And because I've traveled in Europe a lot and around the world, I've filmed in South Africa, I've filmed in so many places. And what you learn.
You have achieved real diversity through experience, not forced DEI nonsense. And it isn't appropriation like when I celebrated Cinco de Mayo with my Mexican or heritage friends in Mexican town in Detroit. In fact, now I'm going to add Cinco de Tuno, my Mexican dance song, tongue in cheek at the end of this episode, as well as E Pluribus Unum. We are the most diverse and inclusive nation the planet has ever seen. Naturally, you don't have to force it, just have people experience the various cultures. E pluribus unum, from many one. We are blended. It isn't appropriation. Is it appropriation when J-Lo dyed her hair blonde? Oh my God, white appropriation. No, it's homage. It's like Tom McDonald. You're Canadian. You know Tom McDonald, the rapper out of Canada, he does his hair in braids. White guy, blue eyes, but his hair's all in braids. He does a song on that, politically incorrect. It's not appropriation. It's homage to his friends. And as he says in the song, he does it that way because it makes his hair look hella cool.
That's pretty funny. Well, one of the things that, one of the blessings and the fortunate things of having filmed in so many countries and having the opportunity to go to so many places that I've enjoyed is that what you learn around the world is we're vastly more similar than we ever realized or think that we're different. I don't care, when I'm filming in Malta or, if I go to Egypt, if I go to Taiwan, everybody, wherever you go in the world, people want to sit and have lunch or have a meal together and laugh and tell stories and learn from each other, laugh and cry. And they all want to try to make a better life for their children than perhaps they had, and improve that aspect one bit. Yes. We all feel pain the same way. You get cut, you feel it. There's things that
bleed blue. Technically, it turns red when oxidized, but whole other story. Like, what color is the sky? It's not blue. That's the reflection off the water. But anyway, my OCD brain just will not let me not go to the places like that.
That's great. But when you think of that as a planet, for the most part, most of us instinctively want very similar things. And whether
nature basis,
if you look at the basis of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, they all derive from the same mount, and all three basically profess the same thing at the core,
or at
of
least
the
try to.
Right. No, but
depending on who you're talking to, yes.
Right. But there's the difference in the core of the religion versus the zealot.
Yeah.
So I don't care what religion it is. If you're a zealot, then you're probably more the problem.
Like
than
in
the
my
solution.
Terror Strikes book, Om Srin Yoko out of Tokyo, the Christian doomsday cult is just like the 12er cultists today. That's why I'm so happy to back Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, the author of Reform, the Battle for the Soul of Islam, for Congress out of Arizona, because those things matter. And I'm so happy to have grown in the Detroit area. We get that cultural, and I want to say this too. I got a show, by the time this airs, it will have aired, Hyphenated Americans, back to E Pluribus Unum. It's great. I'm German, Italian, and Polish heritage. And I don't want to give away those things, but I'm an American. I'm not Polish American, German American, Italian American. I'm an American who happens to have German, Italian, and Polish roots. There's a difference in those. And Detroit area, I'm so happy that we have Mexican town and Greek town and Chinatown, where you can experience all those heritage and without.
It's a wonderful thing to be able to do. And we have that, that's the, in I think it was in 2001, Toronto became, considered the most multicultural city in the world, surpassing London.
England. Many times, yes.
We have 174 last count cultural groups that have their own cultural clubs, so you can go and experience so many cultures within Toronto. And it's like I'm sure Detroit today, you can be standing on the street corner in downtown Toronto and hear 8, 9, 10 languages being spoken. Because we are truly a country of immigrants. Because we got a lot of land, not the volume of people. So, but it's again, it's if you can, and this is what I think is wonderful about the book too, and the movie, is it gives everyone, and it's no different than the Hallmark movies that we make. When we make a movie and take the audience using a global theme to a foreign country, and like if we watch two people fall in love while they're on safari in South Africa, that story is as universal whether it happened in Montana, London, England, or South Africa. Yes. A story like Tia's story, which is a family coming through adversity, and how many people have moved to North America in the last 100 years, or even 75 years, that came from parts of the world in Africa, Europe, Eastern Europe.
And if
Asia.
You're seeking to become free, we want you. If you're seeking to come here to undermine the country, that's a whole other thing. Stay where you're at.
Exactly. And precisely. But that's what we are as a people. So if we can tell stories that are of universal themes, so it's it's like I remember, and you would too, when Slumdog Millionaire came out, that's not a story about an Indian kid. Sure, it's about that nobody would understand. It's a story of a young man rising above the adversities of his situation in life, but in a way that audiences everywhere can understand.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we learned a little bit about India and Indian culture, not Native American, actual Indian culture.
Yeah. And this is the beauty of the way Aggie wrote the book. It's a powerful, powerful story that will give the reader a glimpse into Chinese culture, Chinese behavior, but from universal themes. Like I've talked to so many people that said, okay, well, you know, there's a scene in the movie and in the book where when Tia, at some point, mother says, okay, you have to stop seeing Jason. And she said, I won't. And they're at the dinner table, and Tia's mother said, well, if you continue to see him, you'll be dead to me and to this family. She said, and so Tia got up and left the table. And that started the war. Well, I've heard many people of Italian, Polish, Greek. I've heard lots of people say, well, I was dating somebody, my parents told me if I kept seeing them, you know, then I wasn't welcome back. There's so many cultures have experienced that. So it's not just isolated to Tia's story. And when we did the movie, and I was directing it, all my actors, because they were all Chinese, Korean, Japanese in the movie, they were sitting there doing the scene. And even when we rehearsed it, they all burst into tears because they said, we've all experienced this in our own life. Mm-hmm. And so it is powerful in that way. And I think that's great books. There's many reasons for a book to be great. What I really believe the greatness of this book is you see the world precisely through Tia's eyes. You live through Tia. You feel her heartbreak. You understand and you learn about a world that wasn't that far away. It's only 50 years ago. Like my wife and I just finished making over the last 2 years, 5 movies in Hungary. Well, you walk through Hungary and it was only 1959 when the tanks were in the streets.
Yeah, I know Helen Szabo. I think she just recently passed, so R.I.P. Helen, escaped from behind the Iron Curtain from there. So we always heard those stories. We knew, you know, people fleeing communism in the destruction. And back to the cultural thing, it's why I'm so happy to support a local Mount Carmel Catholic Church Polish festival. It's not the Italian American or the Polish American festival. It's the Polish festival. It's not not solely like Polish Americans where you're excluded. No, it's all people who can appreciate Polish food. And my dad, Ted Leonard Jr. and the Polka Kings used to play at that festival all the time, right? It's okay to celebrate our diversity without trying to force it.
So wonderful for you to say that. I mean, I think that if you look at, you know, over the last 30 years in all our movies, one of the things that I don't do in any of my movies is we don't do anything with gratuitous sex or violence.
Thank goodness. It is a Christian show, so they'll be happy to hear that you have no NC-17 films. Yeah.
No, I mean, that's not and oddly enough, that's not specifically the reason I do it. I don't believe that it was necessary to further a story. And again, I wanted positive role models for young women in film and television. And I believe that Hollywood, for the most part, exploits young women in film and television, has no fear about nudity, whether it's good for their career or not. And to me, that's just exploitive and isn't teaching the real value of a moment.
Yeah, you know, look at Alexandria Diadro, right? Once her sex tape leaked, it almost destroyed her career of Baywatch and whatnot. Yeah. But you don't hear anything from her anymore. It's like they're on to the new latest person they can exploit.
Right. And this is why, you know, when you think back to the days of an Alfred Hitchcock, what you don't see is 10 times more powerful than what you do see. So the power of suggestion is so magnificent.
Yes.
The power of suggestion. So I don't know. We're very focused on that. And I just think, again, as you pointed out, it's how we embrace our differences, not try to fight them.
And not have them forced upon people.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
You said this is why I'm a person, I don't really like the word tolerance. Tolerance to me is if you're tolerating somebody.
In a true Christian sense, I can,
that's
but
not
yes,
acceptance.
Right. Yeah, right. Tolerance and acceptance is different than I must celebrate you. No, I do not.
Exactly.
I can tolerate. I do not have to accept and indeed embrace and help celebrate what you're trying to peddle.
That's right. So, like, to me, I even say, like, the Museum of Tolerance should be relabeled the Museum of Celebration, because if we don't celebrate those things that are unique to our cultural differences, but really learn to find that common ground in who we are, then I think we're not building the bridges the way we really could. You know, my job isn't to say, well, I tolerate you because you're Italian and you live in 3 houses next door to me. My job is, you're Italian. That's cool. Let's have dinner. Let's have some great red wine and some pasta.
Some gnocchi. Do you love gnocchi like I do?
Yeah, all that stuff. So, I don't know. The more I travel the world, and I hear people standing up and say, tolerate. As my father always used to say, tolerating is what you have to do with your in-laws if you don't like them.
Yeah. You need to find a way to work this into your next movie.
So, at any rate, I love that. And again, this is, I think, the movie, it's a wonderful way for people to get a glimpse into a more contemporary Chinese culture, see people in their own cultural environment, dinner, life, thinking, their process, the adversities they faced, and how they navigated living through those adversities and what they did to overcome them and to persevere and not just give in. And you know what? I hate to say it, but we can, I live in Canada. I'm back and forth in Canada and the US all the time. I had my green card till I was 30. My grandmother is from St. Joseph, Missouri. I'm a direct descendant of Abraham Lincoln. So I think I can say whatever I choose to say on either side of the border. I'm a citizen of North America.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I've got an episode that it's going to be airing real soon. It'll be out by the time this airs. Logos, the origin of our First Amendment, not logos as in corporate logos, logos from the Greek, logic and reason. They didn't have a word for speech, but it meant, as in the Bible, the truth will set you free. You are to speak the truth, not delusion and unicorn fart fantasy and spin to peddle your idiotic narratives. But I want to go back to, I made a note, the enticing, the allure of the suggestive, what's hinted at sometimes is like the Men in Black movie. Remember the one where the guy's always talking about women's ankles because he's from the 1800s and that's all they ever saw back then, right?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I love that part of that movie. I thought, I discussed that in my Beauty in the Eye of the Beholder series of shows I've got. But we blew past the 30 minutes I like to try to target. We're at like 45 minutes now, so I want to wrap it up.
Yep.
Go ahead. Where can people find you? Do you have a website?
Well, the website for both the book and the film is dancingthroughtheshadow.com. The book obviously is on Amazon, and doing extremely well. Then
how about you personally? Does your production company or?
Well, my production company is called.
You're not about ego. That's good.
No, I don't have a website. I don't need a website. I'm the easiest person on the planet to find. You just look up Leif Films on Google or on anything, and I come up. I'm the only Leif Films you're going to find.
That's good. That's good. Now, Dancing Through the Shadow, the whole word THROUGH or THRU shortcut, everything's abbreviated.
No, THROUGH, Dancing Through the Shadow. Yeah, and it's yep. And pretty soon we'll hopefully later today, because I have a call with MGM in 20 minutes.
So you got to go anywhere. Yeah.
I'll know where and when it's supposed to be premiering.
That would be great. So yes, technically it is not out, but by the time this airs, people should be able to look, and they could check most likely dancingthroughtheshadow.com, and information will be there by that time. Yes?
Absolutely. So
thank you, Leif Bristow. This was a great again, theater captain for Beyond the Mask. I love movies. I'm trying to get my entire Life and Living series, including some romance stuff in there, into movies and stuff like that too. So I was such a delight to be able to have you on.
This is really wonderful. I really appreciate it.
Take care. God bless. Love you all.
You take care. Bye.
I got ink on my sleeves and a stack by the bed, little worlds I built inside my head. Turn the page, see me under that frame-lit glow. I wrote my way here now, let the trailer roll. Tell them I'm ready, say my name loud. I've been in the margins, now I want the crowd. Hollywood, here I come. Hollywood, here I come. Take my name, take my words, make them shine for everyone. Hollywood, here I come. Hollywood, here I come. Maybe I was born to star or be the story on the run. Hollywood, here I come. Maybe I'm meant for the close-up, maybe just credits and gold. Maybe my wild little chapters are better when they're told. Red carpet, paper, camera, flash, I can already feel it hum. If they want to laugh to cut and cast, baby, I'm the one. Tell them I'm ready, say my name loud. I've been in the margins, now I want the crowd. Hollywood, here I come. Hollywood, here I come. Take my name, take my words, make them shine for everyone. Hollywood, here I come. Hollywood, Hollywood, here I come. Maybe I was born to star or be the story on the run. Hollywood, here I come. If I'm not the face, then I'm the flame. If I'm not the star, then I sign my name on every scene, on every line. Baby, this whole town is gonna know my shine. Hollywood, here I come. Hollywood, Hollywood, I come. Silver screen, I may be looking to start, or just my books adapted, but Hollywood, here I come. You call yourself a background face, standing in the corners of the place, laughing it off. Guess I'm just plain Jane. But I watch the way your eyes misbehave. Beauty in the eye of the beholder. I keep looking twice every time I get closer. From the shy little smile that you're trying to mute, to the way you light a room in that worn out suit. From I'm nothing special in your bedroom shoes, determinedly cute in the way you move. Oh, beauty in the eye of the beholder, and I can't get over you. Sunday sweats and hair up halfway, coffee on your lip, you say you're a mess today. Then you show up dressed in that midnight blue, elegant as if the world waits on you. Beauty in the eye of the beholder. Every time you turn, every page I read slow. You're an intriguing cover on a quiet shelf, but the words inside you rearrange myself. From nervous and simple in your thrift store shoes to effortless grace when you slip in the room. Oh, beauty in the eye of the beholder, and all I see is you. You say it's just angles, it's just good light, but I've seen you crying in the kitchen at night. Barefaced, broken, still somehow drop dead gorgeous in the here and now. Beauty in the eye of the beholder. Every shade of you getting bolder and bolder. From ordinary days eating takeout food to the dress that makes the whole street turn for you. From I'm hard to love, whispered like it's true, to a masterpiece that only grew. Oh, beauty in the eye of the beholder, and my eyes choose you. Beauty in the eye, a beholder. From plain Jane to terminally cute, to elegant look, to intriguing cover on the book, to drop dead gorgeous spectrum. You called yourself plain as a paper plate, baggy hoodie hair in your face, chewed up nails, secondhand shoes, still laughing so loud they all look at you. You think you blend in, fade in the hall, but every tiny freckle writes on the wall. Beauty lives on a spectrum of your face, from just okay to I can't look away. Every angle, every awkward phase, all of it counts, all of it stays. From underread cover to hearts in a flutter, your every shade from simple to amazed. Beauty lives on a spectrum of your face. Beauty live lost, colostrum of your fate, cherry on your tongue, ribbons in your room. Then one day you walk in silk, neckline whisper, eyes like guilt. They stare too long and you shift your weight. Is this too much or is this just late? Beauty lives on a spectrum of your face, from kinda sweet to I can't look away. Every angle, every stolen gaze, all of it counts, all of it stays. From underread cover to hearts in a flutter, your every shade from quiet to a blaze. Beauty lives on a spectrum of your face. Oh, beauty lives on a spectrum of your face.
Hope is great, we need more hope, but it in itself is not a strategy. Shall be known by fruits. Action God demands of you and me. Hope is a whisper, a pretty thought, a warm blanket when battles are fought. But a whisper won't win, no, not a single fight. Gotta stand up and shout with all of your might, yeah. Hope is fine, it's a lovely thing, but hope is not a strategy. No, it ain't a strategy. You gotta move your feet, gotta feel that beat. Hope is not a strategy for you and for me. Talk is cheap, a dime a dozen phrase. Pretty words spin through all of your days, but action speaks louder. Thunderous sound when your boots hit the ground. No turning around. We can dream big dreams, paint pictures in our head, but if we just sit still, we might as well be dead. The fruits of our labor are what the world will see, not just what we wish for, but what we choose to be. 'Cause hope is not a strategy. No, it ain't a strategy. You gotta move your feet, gotta feel that beat. Hope is not a
job well done. I may line that's medium rare, but those doing work for me better do it well done. I like my steak warm red on a cast iron plate, but when you take my dime, you better bring it straight. No sloppy corners, no half-lit chain. I don't need excuses, I need clean gains. Show me your hands, show me that pride. If you said you're on it, then go all the way. One missed detail can spoil the trade, so bring that polish or step out my way. I'm not asking for magic, just a job with a spine. Leave it better than you found it every single time. Don't make me repeat it, don't make me chase. If you're in my circle, bring your best face. Job well done, job well done. If you work for me, do it. Job well done, job well done, job well done. I may like my steaks medium rare, but your work better come out. Job well done. I see the sweat on the wrapper, I see the line stay true, I see the extra mile when nobody told you to. That's the kind of move that gets respect, a sharp little finish with nothing left to check. Hold that standard, keep that flame. If it's your name on it, own that frame. I don't want loud talk, I want proof. A plan that's solid and a job that's smooth. I'm not asking for magic, just a job with a spine. Leave it better than you found it every single time. Don't make me repeat it, don't make me chase. If you're in my circle, bring your best face. Job well done, job well done. If you work for me, do it. Job well done, job well done, job well done. I may like my steaks medium rare, but your work better come out. Job well done. Show me the clean finish, show me the grind, show me the part where you cared enough to mind. Not just fast, not just done. I want that feeling when the task is won. Job well done. medium rare, but your work better come out. Job well done. Let's go! Calendar screaming, fit the mail. Group chat blowing, pull up, hey. Rent just cleared, my wallet thin, but the homie's here, so I'm all in. Cinco de Mayo, rock and roll. Avocado prices got me in a hole. Chips and salsa, tequila flow. One more margarita, let's go. Let's go. Cinco de Mayo, rock and roll. Pay it on credit, charge my soul. Salt on the rim, lose control. One more margarita, let's go. Let's go. One more margarita, let's go. One more margarita, let's go. Card decline on extra cheese. Split the bill in broken Spanglish, please. Line went stuck on my front tooth grin. DJ yelling, otra vez we spin. I'll be broke tomorrow, that's tomorrow's me. Tonight I'm rich and bad decisions, cheap ecstasy. Passing around a plastic cup like it's made of gold. Last round said 3 rounds ago. Let's go! Cinco de Mayo, rock and roll. Avocado prices got me in a hole. Chips and salsa, tequila flow. One more margarita, let's go. Let's go! Cinco de Mayo, rock and roll. Calling sick, blame the coffin cold. Salt on the rim, lose control. One more margarita, let's go. Let's go! One more margarita, let's go. One more margarita, let's go. E pluribus unum, from anyone. United we stand, together we blend. Different cultural styles, varying tonal sounds. We stand together on the same ground. Different hands, same long road. Paper cuts and names we know. One small table full of plans. Many voices, one set of hands. We came in from every side. Muddy boots and tired eyes. Still we stand, still we lean into one shared dream. E pluribus unum, from anyone. E pluribus unum, we rise as one. Take all our scars, turn them to gold. From anyone, that's how we roll. Yeah. One kid cries on the front step. One old song on a cassette. Harvest dust on denim sleeves. Every heart mile still believes we came in from every side. Muddy boots and tired eyes. Still we stand, still we lean into one shared dream. E pluribus unum, from anyone. E pluribus unum, we rise as one. We rise as one. Take all our scars, take all our scars. Turn them to gold, turn them to gold. From anyone, that's how we roll. All the names on the same wall. All the rain on the same straw. If you fall, I pull you through. If I'm weak, you carry two. Stone by stone, brick by brick, hands in the dust making one thing stick. Every voice carries weight, different paths, the same gate. Step by step we find the thread, many tongues, one word said. Side by side we make it true. I am me and still I'm with you.
find the thread, many tongues, one word said. Side by side we make it true. I am me, and still I'm with you.
Y pluribus unum,
Y pluribus unum,
from anyone.
from anyone.
Y pluribus unum, till the work is done.
From anyone,
From anyone.
from anyone.
Y pluribus unum,
We rise as one.
we rise.
We rise as one. From anyone. From anyone. E pluribus unum. We rise as one.
Old cassette box in the hallway, faded label, his handwriting. I can hear the kitchen dancing every time that tape starts spinning. He'd shout out names like an intro, grin so wide it filled the room. Now the chair sits by the window, but I swear I hear that tune. Dad's up there leading the heavenly polka band, squeezing joy out of that squeeze box in his hands. Oh yeah, angels twirl, halos tilt when they all start to stand. Dad's up there leading the heavenly polka band. They got a floor made out of starlight, clouds lined up like wooden pews, trumpets laughing into moonlight, every waltz a bit of news. He's calling out for old partners, step in line, you're doing fine. Heaven's never had a party till his rhythm hit the sky. Dad's up there leading the heavenly polka band, squeezing joy out of that squeeze box in his hands. Hey! Angels twirl, halos tilt when they all start to stand. Dad's up there leading the heavenly polka band. On earth he signed those posters, packed the hall on Friday nights. Now every star's a paper lantern, swinging gently in the lights. Dad's up there leading the heavenly polka band, squeezing joy out of that squeeze box in his hands. Oh, if you listen in the silence, you'll hear them clap along the stand. Dad's up there leading the heavenly polka band. Rest well, Polka King, you are not forgotten. You're still a thing. Heard one of your tunes on radio the other day. Sing you and Richie, your brothers, are dancing in the hereafter. Not done, just a new chapter. Dad's up there leading the heavenly polka band, squeezing joy out of that squeeze box in his hand. Oh, if you listen in the silence, you'll hear them clap along the stand. Dad's up there leading the heavenly polka band.
Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help. Thank you for having tuned into another Constitutionalist Podcast show. I really appreciate that you stopped by. Again, please like, share, subscribe. We need you to help spread the Constitutionalist movement. Thank you again. Take care. God bless. Love you all.